Hopefully the audio will be cool.
We got a little breeze too, so.
All right, guys, what's up? Appreciate y'all tuning in. TSUS, Cox by 90, live from Halls on location, downtown Columbia. You see a little bit. I know the glare is kind of tough, but State House behind us, and we've got a delay in the audio, so hopefully that won't throw me off here on this Thursday night. But again, appreciate y'all tuning in, whether you're tuning in on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, whatever it may be. Really excited, man. Obviously, the night before South Carolina gets going to the Columbia Regional, Gamecocks taking on Virginia. First pitch at noon tomorrow. Jeff, first things first, we're getting going into everything. Appreciate you, Jeff. Cox by 90. I give all the credit to him. He set this up. And also, really quickly, round of applause to Halls for having us out. What a fantastic venue. Great location. Wonderful food. We're at Halls. We're not just tweeting about it, but we're actually live streaming from Halls. Jeff, appreciate it, man. What's going on?
I mean, how cool is this right now? I tell you, got some friends out here right here that we've met obviously through Twitter, and then I've got some longtime friends here too. Actually officiated a wedding for their brother, so it's kind of cool to have you all out. Halls, I don't think there could have been a more perfect place for us to have this on location before the regional. I'm going to have to bring it up, Chris, because we made a little wager before football season last year. This is kind of, I think, how we got to know each other a little bit.
Yeah.
And
you got to love Gamecock Twitter, by the way. We see Dively back there. You got to love Gamecock Twitter.
Dively is big time on Twitter.
It's a big dysfunctional family, as we all know. So.
I just want to be just as big as Dively on Twitter. I'll tell you that. But, so, you know, the Gamecock over-under for last season comes out, right? It's just a 10-game season. For football.
Yeah.
It's just a 10-game season, and the over-under is 3.5. You know, the podcast name's Cox by 90. I lose a boatload of money on the Gamecocks every year, and last season was no different. But I see Chris chime in and say he's going under 3.5 last year.
Muschamp guy, right? I mean,
you love Muschamp.
I was such a Muschamp guy, yeah.
I think I saw you trying to put the Muschamp picture back up in the indoor facility when they were taking it down. You didn't want it to go.
I just figured we just change it from Spurrier indoor to Will Muschamp indoor facility.
He did such a great job. Yeah. So Chris goes and bets the under 3.5, and of course. You know, Hall's kind of his team has been outstanding, and so this has just been a culmination kind of the past couple months. I got to treat Chris to a steak. We got a baseball regional to talk about that we didn't think was going to happen, and we're here, and I'm excited to be here.
It feels good, man. It's exciting. You know, I went on radio earlier and was asked about, you know, what's the vibe around Columbia or Gamecock fans? Is it a little deal, medium deal, or big deal? I think it's a really big deal, man. I think South Carolina baseball fans, South Carolina fans in general, just some of the best in the country. And obviously you talk Gamecocks baseball and the pride that, you know, we know football moves the needle. We know that it's the king, certainly in the South and the SEC. But I really look at baseball as the crown jewel of Carolina, man. I just think with the history, the tradition, it's the one sport really, with all due respect to Dawn Staley, the GOAT, by the way, which is in the building.
Dawn Staley's in the house.
Yeah, all due respect to her program, but it's the one big sport of the big three that you look at and say has a real tradition of excellence and winning and a standard of postseasons and winning titles, winning national. It's the one sport I look forward to every year and say we have a realistic shot of going all the way, winning all. Again, excluding Dawn Staley, what she's doing, because it's a given. We're going to be in the Final Four and be in the national title talk every year. But no, overall, we had somebody just don't. It's Phil. Appreciate you, Phil.
I mean, talk about the GOAT right here. She is literally walking by as we're talking about her. She is literally the Gamecock GOAT of all time. Dawn is here, so.
Dawn Staley in the building. Love to see that. Love to see that. But, yeah, the hype is real, man. The hype is real for Carolina baseball. Obviously, first regional back in Columbia since 2016. And, again, we see it on social media, and I've told other people, man, I see it especially from the content side, man. You'd think a lot of the viewership and the listens and stuff would fall off. But, dude, Gamecock fans have been engaged this season.
Yep.
And I think especially, too, after losing it last season and getting it back, and it made you just appreciate having sports and having Carolina baseball and getting to go to the yard and take it all in. I don't think anybody took it for granted this season. And to get a regional, I know some people, which we're going to get to this, I'm sure, in just a second, but I know some people will look at this season and say, oh, did South kind of deserve to host, this, that, and I think they did, man. When you talk about the schedule South kind of went through, 16-14 in SEC play. You didn't lose a series to a team ranked outside of the top 12. And I look at that body of work, and was it a perfect season? No. Well, is this a perfect team? No. But South Carolina, at the end of the day, in my opinion, deserved to host. And I think, it's funny. Sometimes to win a title or to go deep in a postseason, you need a break. Hopefully this hosting bid will be that break for the Gamecocks. So we'll see start tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll start tomorrow at noon, right?
Yeah, tomorrow at noon.
And
ESPN2.
And we will be there at 9 a.m. I'm holding Chris to it. Chris might be going hitting the town tonight.
No,
I'm going to be there at 9 a.m.
No, we're going to be there. The Rowdy Roosters are going to be there, man. I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to have a really good crowd tomorrow. I think a lot of people, hopefully people are using Mark Kingston's excuse slip or calling out of work. Or I was joking earlier this week, man. I was like, I'm really glad I don't work in the corporate world anymore because PTO or not, I would not be going to work.
I mean, I'm literally
no question.
I'm thankful for my boss too as well, right? Following Gamecock sports, and this happened many years ago when we went on the basketball run in March Madness. Hey, I had the Greenville. He let me get off for that. Sure enough, I came in that Monday morning and had to go. I'm going to New York City. I'm following the team there. So saving up the PTO. I am here until we win this thing. So
it might be Monday.
Yeah, it might be. I've already told him it might be Monday, and
like a little Monday
and he's
night
on
baseball.
board. So you got to love a boss that's cool with you following your passion. I love the Gamecocks. This is
Absolutely.
That's
a boss to keep for life. Right
yeah,
there,
this is a special place for me, right? Going to school at USC. Actually, I'm gonna give a quick shout out to. Speaking of USC, I've got my best friend. It's actually his birthday today. He was my roommate for 4 years. Shout out Rob Waters. It's his birthday. He put up with me for 4 years in this place. Shaking it for 4 years and 5 points.
Shaking this place.
So I have to give him a birthday shout out.
And when were you at Carolina again?
Graduated in 2010. I did the victory lap, so 4.5 years.
Okay.
So 06 to
You
2010.
caught the SEC East title, though.
I was here, East title. He was with me. I will never forget. Obviously, it was down in the swamp, but it was one of the more amazing celebrations I've ever had as a student, obviously, and then as a Gamecock fan in general. It was incredible. But
you and Beamer, you're like this. I mean,
me and Beamer are like this.
Y'all were at Carolina about the same time, basically.
I was and while we're talking about my college experience, I was here, and again, I love basketball more than anything. I was here for the Dare Win Horn years. Dare win a game. Dare win. Did we do that?
Did you see we scheduled a home and away with Western Kentucky, and I joked and said loser of the series has to rehire Darren Horn.
Dare win.
Dare win Horn. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I was there for Dwayne Day's, senior night. You're bringing me back to college memories. But we're here now to talk about the regional, and we could talk about my college experience all night. I might go down to 5 points tonight. Who knows?
Aren't many bars open left, unfortunately.
They're pushing you to the Vista.
Yeah,
maybe you'll see me at 10 Roof tonight.
Maybe they're pushing everybody to the Halls.
We got Sir Big Spur over here too, and we got Taylor Dively. We all had a big night at 10 Roof after.
We did.
Oh, he doesn't remember. He doesn't remember. Of course, I mean, a lot of us didn't that night. It was a great time, but nevertheless, I'm hoping to do some celebrating tomorrow after we.
I got the cigars lined up, by the way. Yeah, just saying.
Let's do it. All right, so regional talk. We're back to it. Noon game tomorrow. I want to look back at the season right quick before we get into the regional. Tell me, Chris, and I'll tell you too, what was your favorite game of the year? If you had to pick one out, which one tickled you the most?
Well, probably the one that I got caught on camera with somebody in our audience tonight. No, the extra inning thriller against Florida was incredible, but I got to go back to that Sunday against Clemson, man. That was by far the most nervous I had been all season long, and was all season. I mean, literally shaking. Like, I wanted to, despite some people thinking I am a Clemson fan, I hate those guys. I wanted to beat them so bad. I wanted that one more than any series we played. And man, that's the one that just. And I know there were a lot of great moments in SEC play. I think at the Florida sweep as a whole, and like I said, that extra inning game, and Kentucky sweep, whatever. We won a lot of great games, but man, clinching the series like that at home, walk-off fashion. Andrew Eister 2 nights in a row comes up as a big. It had everything, man. It's almost beyond words what that game meant. It was, we all know how important it is, man. I mean, listen, baseball is a marathon, and you don't, the 2010 team lost 2 or 3 to Clemson, right? Just because in the regular season, just because you lose that series or win that series, it doesn't dictate how your season's going to go. But man, that was one we needed as a program, I thought, man. And Mark Kingston, I thought, desperately needed. And, to get it in that fashion, I mean, I felt it, in my stomach the entire game. And that was it was incredible. Incredible.
All right, so I'm going to go back, and it was actually a couple weeks ago. And I'm going to give a shout out. My sister just walked in. She graduated a couple weeks ago from USC. Congratulations to her.
There you go.
Congratulations, Caroline.
Recent graduate. There you go.
So I'm telling them about my favorite game of the year, and it goes to your graduation weekend. So she graduates, from the University of California. It was a big night Friday night. I was there.
Bobby Casson.
My sister Caroline graduated from the University of California. It was, it was a big night for her. She's never been to California, but she graduated from there. And then, sure enough, we spent a weekend in Columbia because I love this place. And I spent time with my mom and family and them. And so I didn't do Mother's Day at home. I stayed here for that Sunday Mississippi State game. And that Mississippi State game is the reason why we're all here right now. Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind, if we lose that Mississippi State game, we get swept. We're not in the top 20 for regional talk. And this isn't even happening. So, going to that game, we ran in together. We talked for a while. We ate sunflower seeds together for a while. It's always a good moment. This guy's loaded with seeds every time. So if you're at the ballpark, I got
3 bags at home right now.
Just go grab seeds from Chris whenever you're there.
Barbecue.
Beating Mississippi State that Sunday on Mother's Day. And not only in the fashion we did it with the walk-off, David Mendham's family.
Baby double.
His family was actually at that game.
Yeah, no,
they came in, obviously Canadian background, to come to that game. That was his first game at Carolina for them to see him. He hits the walk-off. We salvage 1 out of 3 games. Yeah. And then that's why we're here right now.
Be honorable mention, man. That it was incredible. I mean, obviously, we were. That was the tin roof night.
It was the tin roof night. I was eating sunflower seeds. Yeah. We were drinking a lot of screwball at tailgates.
Can't script it any better. Yeah. Can't script it any better.
All right, how about this? What about your favorite play of the season? So we talked about favorite game. Is there one specific play for you that stands out?
Anytime David Mendham tried to catch a pop-up in foul territory, honestly. You know, it's funny, man. I go back to, again, the one that just jumps out. I mean, it comes back to that Clemson series, and a lot of people might gloss over this play and not think much of it. I'll see if you remember the
Slide, glove side where he just flicks it. Damn good play.
It was a great play, man. I mean, Wimmer, I know a lot of people dog the South Carolina defense, and was it one of the best? Was it Scott Wingo? Was it Bobby Haney and Adrian Morales? Maybe not, but Braylon Wimmer saved us a lot of runs in the infield.
So I went opposite play. You did fielding, I did hitting, and you kind of hit on this a little bit earlier. But Ice Baby, anytime you beat Clemson in anything these days, right? Like, I don't care, badminton. We can go out and throw water polo. Shoot, I'll do shoots and ladders. Get a board game out here. Iced her those 2 walk-offs, which he'll be able to, again, his whole life will be able to say I had 2 walk-off hits.
Iced will never pay for another drink in Columbia as long as he lives.
Never. He needs to walk in right now. Yeah. Obviously, NCAA reasons, I wouldn't pay anything. IOU. Yeah. But let's just say down the line, he won't have to pay. Yeah. I have to say those 2 walk-offs, one, being at Greenville, which is might as well be Tater country. I mean, there's probably people here listening from Greenville. I love
it's
Greenville.
No knock on Greenville, but it's definitely a 60-40 at minimum Clemson advantage when that game's played. No doubt.
It is. Doubt. I mean, it's a But I think the idea is the fact that it being, again, that third one in Columbia, right?
Right.
Again, yes, we get the home field advantage. All right, we got that topic. That could be a rabbit hole. We could just literally be all the way down in there. But last thing, looking back on this beautiful season, how about the biggest letdown? We got to we can't talk about all the great things. That's one thing I don't like to do. I don't like to talk about all the shiny toys. Right. I like to talk about the letdown. What do you think the biggest letdown was this year?
I think it's got to be the third base position and Brennan Malone. This is a guy that, and I like Brennan Malone a lot. He's a great kid and great family. And, but at the end of the day, it's all about producing and putting up numbers. And this is a guy that I project in the preseason to be your number 3 hole hitter and be a 300 hitter for you. I compared him to Christian Walker in the preseason. I mean, I really did. And, here's the thing. I've seen this kid swing it. I know the type of power he's got. I know the type of hitter he can be. But for whatever reason, it just never clicked for him. So I'd say for me personally, biggest letdown, I mean, it's got to be Malone, man. I just, if you'd have told me before the season that Josiah Seitler was going to be your 3-hole hitter, which shout out to him, and Brendan Malone was going to be the 7, 8, 9, or not even in the lineup half the time, I wouldn't hardly believe you, man. So I have been very, very surprised at Brendan Malone's lack of success, and really the third base position as a whole, man. It's just been musical chairs. You know, we've talked about for weeks, and I've said it over and over again on my show, like, pick one guy and stick with him. You know, I'm a Kingston guy, no question. That is the one thing about Kingston, though. I say that sometimes I'm like, Coach, don't overthink this.
Yeah,
like
there's
pick
a lot
your
of
one guy,
overthinking.
because it's just like being a quarterback in football, man. There's just no way getting interchanged out drive to drive. You can build any sort of consistency or rhythm or confidence, which is more important than all of what I just mentioned. So, yeah,
unless you're Spurrier, Florida in the 90s.
Well, unless you're Spurrier in 2008 against Arkansas, when you're changing out Steven Garcia and Chris Smelly on every single play. So, but guess what? Mark Kingston's not Steve Spurrier. So, no, I'd say Brendan Malone, man. Like, you know, and I'm glad he's back healthy. He'll be ready to go tomorrow, and I would assume he'll start. But he's, you know, call for what it is, man. It just happened in his year, and sometimes it happens in baseball, and you just get off to a rough start. And, you know, sometimes you're able to go on a hot streak, and sometimes you're not. Sometimes you don't recover. So I'd say Malone.
No, I think that third base position too, right? I thought Heinrich, after the game he had against Mississippi State, right, the double down the line.
He's been clutch. Heinrich's been clutch.
Then the hit, I was like, okay, he's definitely starting the next midweek game.
Yeah.
Didn't start. I was like.
It's just been.
Maybe that's Kingston's mental. Maybe he plays this chess game and we're playing checkers. I don't know. I mean, you know, he did rest our whole team when we go to Hoover, and now we're sitting here in Columbia for a
Everybody wanted Mark Kingston fired until they realized he was a genius.
All right, I'm going to say this, and then I'll tell you all my biggest letdown. There had to have been, like, you know how you get tipped pitches, right? Or you know, he had to have been
your
tipped
chance we're going to host.
that there was a better than average chance that Columbia was going to be a regional host with or without winning one game.
Well, dude, Ray Tanner's our AD. He's like on the board for college baseball. You think he doesn't know what's going on? I mean, come on.
I just, you know, you love, and I am one of them too. I'm the big Gamecock knee-jerk reaction guy.
Right.
I'll tell y'all, I was at Nightcaps the night Satterfield got hired, and I knee-jerk reacted all over Twitter, and I had to apologize.
I don't remember that.
I had some beverages, and I said, of course.
It was a little underwhelming. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah,
I mean,
but we're big knee-jerk, and we are, and I think a lot of fan bases are. But I think the knee-jerk reaction at that point is just, it's standard.
Well, it is frustrating, man. I mean, the SEC tournament, I'd love for us to make a run. And I was frustrated from the perspective of business and content. I'm like, man, I'd like to have 2 more games to talk about. Like, I don't want to be one and done and, you know, be just empty the rest of the week. And you see all these other teams playing, and you're like, man, like, I really want to enjoy the SEC tournament, but it's kind of a bitter taste in my mouth now that we got eliminated, you know, first day out, whatever, and especially losing to a team like Alabama that you just felt like, and getting your ass kicked when you felt like you had no business doing so.
You felt naked too that weekend. It's like first time no baseball.
Right.
You're like, this just didn't feel right. So you have to blame it on somebody. You blame it on Kingston. But we're here now. My biggest letdown was the Ole Miss series. Like
That's fair.
I look at that series and I'm like, man, you know, if people say that Carolina didn't deserve to host a regional, in which we've talked about that, I think the record, the RPI suggests we should, in which we are. Right. That Ole Miss series, getting swept there, this team's better than getting swept in the SEC. And people will say, hey, look at Florida. Florida got swept in the SEC, and they're still a top 12 ball club, right? They're hosting a regional. I think this team was better than what it showed down there in the Delta. And for me, it just kind of stung because at that point, we hadn't won until Kentucky. What was it, like 1 out of the last 5 SEC series we lost?
I think 3 or 4, I think it was. Yeah.
And so for me, it's just, I don't know.
3 in a row for sure.
3 in a row.
Mississippi State, Arkansas, and Ole Miss.
And then we win the Kentucky, and then obviously lose Mississippi State and Tennessee. Yeah. So we're 1-5 SEC series winning over the last 6. And people were saying, how does that team host? Well, again, I look back at the Ole Miss and I say, we lost some close ones, but getting swept right there was frustrating for me. And so,
you know, when you get swept in SEC play, listen, when you win 2 out of 3, lose 2 out of 3, you tread water in this league. It's the sweeps when you get them and when they happen to you that completely change your season. So,
and we had what? And that was our fourth to last series, right? So we only had 3 series left.
It wasn't
We're
a lot of
right
time.
there in the regional talk because the regional talk, again, we were the top 20. Yeah. But it was close. So.
Well, and my big thing was this, though, going back to the hosting thing, is, and I made this point on social media, you got picked to be one of the top 20 host sites at 12-12 in league play.
Yeah.
You went 4-2 in your last 6. How are you not one of the and I don't care how it came. I know you swept Kentucky and then got beat 2 out of 3. But the fact of the matter is you went 4-2 in your last 6 SEC games. How do you fall out of the top 16 there? But, hey, it worked out. Obviously, it worked out. The Gamecocks are the 2 seed in the Columbia Regional. But, you know.
Hey, so I do have to say one thing. So you all see we're outside here at Halls on the patio. We've got a little crew out here. Thank you all for coming. We have, again, Don Staley's here with the U.S. Women's National Team. I want to say that was the head coach of Arizona that just walked by here. I don't know if you just saw that.
Yeah, I was one.
But she was the one that was in the huddle being like, let's fucking go. Yeah. That was her that just walked by. So my eyes caught it, and it's like, I don't know. It's just cool. Again, I love coming here to Columbia. Yeah, that was Arizona's head coach.
They confirmed it.
I think that's
no big deal. No big deal.
No, and she's a part of that U.S. Women's National Team. I don't know. I thought she did a hell of a job coaching, again, during the women's basketball tournament, the let's fucking go inside the little huddle. But here at Halls, I think one unique thing, and I love coming here every time I'm up here, you get to run into Gamecock greats. I feel like you're at least running to somebody in the coaching staff, somebody that would formerly play for the football team, somebody basketball related. I don't know. It's just cool. So Halls doesn't need me to plug them. Sure as hell doesn't need Chris to plug them. Doesn't need Cox by 90 to plug them. But this place is, again, one of the, premier spots in all the state. Charleston, Columbia, Greenville, opening up one in Nashville too. But I'm thankful to be here.
Having us out,
and I just think it's cool. We're sitting here watching Don Staley walk right in front of us right here. And then sure enough, Arizona women's head basketball
big wigs of cola, man. The stars are out. The stars are out.
All right, so we have talked about, obviously, the regular season. We're in postseason play now, baby.
New season. 0-0. Everybody's 0-0.
We're 0-0. Yeah. We got to win 3 games, and then we got to win 2 games after that. But we're talking about the first 3 now. Chris has done a heck of a job covering the regional over your podcast over the past couple of days. So what I wanted to do is, can we get just a little bit of your background talking about Jacksonville, Virginia, Old Dominion? How about kick us off? What scares you about Jacksonville?
Oh, man.
Be honest with everybody
your opponent. What scares me about Jacksonville? Nothing. And listen, the only thing I guess is is going to make a deep run this year. I mean, their best pitcher, their top guys in ERA of like 4.7. So I mean, it's nothing. about them. If I can solve the technical issues.
You know it.
We got people yelling Cox by 90 from the street. If I can solve the technical issues. Here we go. When you look at Virginia, though, second in the conference in ERA, and it's all led by Andrew Abbott, man, sub-3 ERA. But what stands out to me about him, 89 innings pitched. I think it's 136 strikeouts with 28 walks. I mean, that's getting the job done. You know, he's not going to give you a lot. And so us as a ball club, it all comes back to hitting for South Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. I don't even know if it necessarily scares me about Virginia. My biggest concerns for South Carolina are directly related to South Carolina. Are you going to get enough out of the bats? Now, the interesting thing about Virginia is this. They are like a mirror image of us. They depend on dominant pitching from both their starting rotation and their bullpen, and they just pray to God they score enough to win. Because South Carolina ranks 152nd in the NCAA in scoring. Virginia ranks 155th. They hit 260 as a team. They've only hit 35 home runs this year as a ball club. Jeff, we have one guy with 22.
I'm looking at your graphic right now because your guy –
all right.
Who's the guy that does the graphic?
AUPPL, and we'll post the graphic tomorrow, by the way, so don't give too much. No, it's just kidding. The stats are out there.
I'm giving you all the
we'll
behind
post
the
this
scenes.
graphic tomorrow, but it's behind the scenes. He does a great job.
Look at this, Chris. I mean, giving me behind-the-scenes content. You all – this guy's a good guy over here. Yeah. But
we'll
I'm
post
just
it first thing in the morning.
Again, I'm looking at it. Like you said, it's a mirror image. Their pitching staff versus ours.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they finished second in the ACC in ERA. We finished second in the SEC in ERA. They've got a big-time guy in Andrew Abbott. We've got Brett Carey. We got Thomas Farr, different guys. Like they've got some elite guys in the back in their bullpen. So do we. So, and I'm sure we're going to get more in depth in the game tomorrow in just a second because I do want to touch on Old Dominion before we go any further because they do deserve the respect. But what concerns me about Virginia and them as a matchup problem is elite pitching wins in the postseason, right? It does, bottom line. And Virginia has legitimate pitching. And also they're hot. They won 7 of their last 9. Most teams, I think, coming in the postseason, there are very few you're going to find that have really limped into the postseason. Most teams are kind of playing they seem to be playing their best baseball.
7-2 in their last 9
games. Right, 7-2 in their last 9. So the thing that concerns me from a matchup perspective is just, are we going to be able to hit enough? You know what I mean? We've seen the best of the best. We've seen the aces, but Andrew Abbott's as formidable as any of those guys we've seen. And winning game 1, man, we've talked all year how winning game 1 is so important. Winning game 1 in the regionals, it's so crucial because your chances of taking home that regional crown, they go down drastically if you lose that game. So Virginia, I'd say the dominant pitching. Now, like I said, before we get into the game tomorrow, I do want to touch on Old Dominion because I don't want to disrespect Old Dominion as the number 1 seed.
They're the number 1 seed.
They are the number 1 seed
number
for a reason.
11
listen,
overall.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the Monarchs earned it. They had a great year. Won the Conference USA tournament. They hit 311 as a ball club, and the numbers jump out at you. They've got their top hitter, what's his name? Kyle. What am I forgetting his name? I apologize to him, but Kyle, whatever his name is, 18 bombs on the year. The big question I have to Old Dominion. So the thing that would scare me about Old Dominion is that if you're not swinging it well, like Old Dominion looks like a club, especially the hitter-friendly.
Kyle Battle.
Kyle Battle. There you go.
18 home runs.
One of the best hitters in all of college baseball, honestly. He's been great this year. The thing that would concern me.
Look at these averages. My God.
Yeah, the thing that would concern me about Old Dominion is, from a South Carolina perspective, you play them, you better swing it because they're going to swing it. You know what I mean? Now, you could also say, hey, they haven't seen the type of pitching that we have. They haven't seen the type of arms that we feature. But, Old Dominion's shown they're not going to back down from anybody. They earned a top 16 seed. The question I have for Old Dominion, how does their pitching translate? Because a 4.4, I believe, ERA in Conference USA competition, something like 4.6 maybe?
4.32.
4.32, okay. But in over
because I've got Phillies.
Yeah,
I got this graphic.
I don't even have my graphic.
I got the graphic in front of me.
Over a 4 ERA, though, in Conference USA, and you just wonder how – because, again, I fully believe baseball is one of the last sports where defense still wins championships. We all say the old adage in football, defense – no, it doesn't. All these days, you got to score points, man. It's all about scoring. All the rules play in favor to the offense. You got to score. Baseball, great pitching still beats great hitting. If you don't have the arms –
all night. And twice on Sunday.
Right. You're not getting to Omaha. You're not winning the World Series in the major leagues. I don't care what level of baseball you're at. If you don't have the arms and guys that can be shut down and dominant, you're not going to go very far. So that's my biggest question, I think, with Old Dominion because they've got the bats to back it up. It's just will their pitching do enough? Now, I'm sure
you look at it. Hey, last time we beat Virginia in the postseason, which we won a College World Series championship.
2011, beat them twice.
That final score was what, 3-2?
Yep, in 13 innings. So
at the end of the day, like you said, Defense wins championship.
Yeah.
Pitching wins, right? We all remember Gamecock greats. Yeah, obviously there's Whit Merrifield with the walk-off hit and Jackie Bradley Jr. But Michael Roth made his name pitching in the postseason. And I think that, and again, I'm looking at this graphic right now. Old Dominion, their averages, and again, I think they might be a little balloon because you have Conference USA pitching, but the idea that they're putting over 8 runs a game, they're averaging 8.1 runs a game. That's pretty freaking impressive.
Yeah.
Like, they're hitting the ball.
Yeah.
You talked about it. They're at 100 home runs, 98 home runs. Like, those guys are putting the bat on the ball. Now, when we get to the postseason, they're not playing against Conference USA pitching. Yeah. We've got ACC and SEC
and that's all
pitching.
due respect to Conference USA baseball because they had some really good clubs this
Rice,
year.
Rice used to be a historic
La
great
Tech
club.
was a really good ball club this year. I mean, there's some really good ones, but
Where are they, Ruston? Is it Ruston Regional? The Ruston? Is that where the Louisiana Tech is?
I think
Ruston?
so, yes. Ruston, yes.
I had that name, right. Like when the Ruston, I was like, Ruston? Yeah. I was like, that's kind of like thinking about Clemson. Nobody even knows
and I believe
Clemson's
that the record was, which I think it was Mike Yuva that tweeted it, which shout out Mike.
Mike, we're at Halls. Come on by.
Where's Mike Yuva?
We're tweeting about it.
Where's
if
he
you want
at?
to come by.
He said that Old Dominion is 10-5 this season against regional teams, postseason teams. So, I mean, they've played good competition. It's not like they haven't. But, again, my biggest question, like you said, it is different. You know, the Virginias, the South Carolinas, there's a bump up in competition. So, Old Dominion, I can only imagine going on the road, I'm sure they feel disrespected as the 1 seed, and they've got that chip on their shoulder. What I tell people is this, dude, everybody this time of year has a chip on their shoulder. You know what I mean? Everybody has that sort of that edge they're playing with. So Old Dominion, I'm excited. Obviously, I know I've got the booklet. I know you do. I'm planning on going and watching them tomorrow night. I'm really excited to. See.
We're gonna be doing some celebrating.
Yeah. I'm excited to see. Old Dominion looks like we're gonna go out there and start to get the scouting report. But
we're doing kegs and eggs at 9 a.m. we win. 3 o'clock. I don't know. I mean, you got
to come back to Halls.
Yeah, shoot.
Why not?
And tweet about it.
Yes. Might even Instagram about it.
Take a couple selfies. Why don't we? I mean, so again, Virginia. That game tomorrow. We've talked about again. Old Dominion's got the batch. Virginia is just an all-around good team. Tomorrow, we don't have to talk about the keys to the game, but I want to talk about some individuals tomorrow.
Yeah.
Who is maybe, and then tomorrow, and then we'll talk about like regional players.
Yeah, for sure.
For the regional, pitching-wise, who's the person that Carolina's got to have play at their best and just help us win? Who's the guy?
Who's the pitcher you're saying, correct?
The pitcher first, and then we'll do the positional
I feel
player.
like this is a trick question because the answer is so simple. It's Brett Carey.
Yeah.
I mean, bottom line. And you mentioned, by the way, 2011 against Virginia. And when you talk about 10, you talk about 11, you talk about 12, you talk about all those great Gamecock ball clubs at that point and back-to-back national titles. We had a lot of great players in our lineup. There's no question. We had a Gamecock legends all over.
Stacked.
We had power. But like I said, in the postseason, dominant starting pitching and bullpen. That's what does it.
Yeah.
We had guys like Blake Cooper. We had guys like Michael Roth, Sam Dyson, Matt Price at the back end, John Taylor,
Was there
Jose
nothing
Mata.
better than Matt Price coming out with that number 22, doing the literally
Patrick Davis said it best and Wingo and his yard cocks when he comes in, just close it down. That's it. It's over. So, now, I put it on Brett Carey, man. And we can talk about situational hitting and two-strike hitting and two-out hitting until we're blue in the face, right? And it's going to be a challenge for Gamecock hitters, and they've got to rise to it. They need to swing it a lot better than they've done. I've talked about all season, productivity over power. We got to put away or find a way to put together productive at bats. Hey, you get a guy on second with nobody out, you got to get him to third.
You got to score.
You got to score it. You got a guy, especially against a guy like Andrew Abbott, who, again, the statistics tell you he's not going to give you a lot. So, hey, if he walks a guy, if they make an error, you got to make them pay for it. You have
ball
to.
clubs do that.
Right.
Texas. We went to that Texas series. Again, we got swept with them. I'm just glad we actually played that series.
That helped us tremendously.
I think it prepared us a lot for the hosting talk SEC play too as well, going on early and sweeping Florida. But those guys, that team is a perfect example. They play small ball to it. They can hit.
Texas
they
baseball.
Can power hit when they need to. But that is a perfect example. They get a leadoff double. That runner is scoring 95% of the time.
Well, and like I said, looking at this game, Brett Carey, you come into postseason games where, and this this reminds me a lot of, I'm going to go back to 2010. I made the trip down to watch South Carolina play Ole Miss, and it wasn't a postseason game, but we all remember the season that Blake Cooper had. And
Incredible
he
season.
was going up against ace after ace after ace, big league guys now, weekend after weekend after weekend. And Blake Cooper wasn't the name a lot of these guys were. He wasn't the guy the scouts were coming to go see.
Right.
But he took it upon himself each and every time he took the baseball. He said, I'm going to shove it up their ass. And I'm going to go out.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it upon myself to go out there and beat that guy. And you don't think about that as a pitcher necessarily that, like it's me versus him. Like you're thinking, okay, one pitch at a time. I'm facing this lineup. I'm not facing him directly.
Right.
But if I'm Skylar Meade, I'm Mark Kingston. I take very much that same approach that Blake Cooper had, that mentality in the sense, okay, Brett, everybody's talking about Andrew Abbott. And, of course, Brett Carey's getting his recognition. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. D1 Baseball said he's the best pitcher in this regional, and for good reason, right? He's getting the accolades. But if I'm Skylar Meade, Mark Kingston, I look at Brett Carey and I say, listen, we can't lose if they don't score. Bottom line. Hey, go win regional pitcher of the weekend or whatever. Go win the pitcher of the regional. Go win an award. And so I put it on his shoulders. Man, listen, we might have to win 2-1. We might have to win 2-1, 1-0. Who knows?
We're gonna get your prediction here shortly too.
Yeah. So but back to I put it on Brett Carey. You have got to have a good start from him. He needs to go. He doesn't need to be good. He doesn't need to be great. Brett Carey needs to be special tomorrow.
Yeah.
He needs to be special for you.
He needs to have a Kentucky type outing, right?
I'm not even saying that necessarily because it's such a different beast and the postseason and all that. But he's got to give you 7 strong. Yeah. Especially game 1. We're setting the tone for the entire regional. You can't go out there and burn your entire bullpen in game 1. So this game will, in its entirety, will set the tone for the entire weekend.
So you're leading up to my guy, right? From the pitching staff, I think Brett Carey's got to be a GOAT tomorrow. Right. I think he's got to come out.
I think that's the easy answer. I'm sorry if I took the easy answer.
No, you didn't take the easy answer. But my answer is the return of the Boz.
The Wizard of Boz.
I like the return of the Boz.
Fair enough, whatever.
But I think Bosnick is the key to this series. Yeah. Because what I think tomorrow night is, I think Carey does go 7. Yeah. But what we don't have right now is the guy like Carey that we were relying on at the beginning of the year that we always knew if our starting pitcher went 7, guess what? We had Carey coming in too to close it out.
Right.
I think Boz is that guy, though.
Kind of serves as that Swiss Army knife.
I think he's the guy. I think at the end of the day, the starting actually is going to help him in this regional. And I say that because I don't think we're looking at him as the closer guy for 1 inning. I think he's going to be a guy that can come in there and literally shut them down for 2 to 3 innings when we need him. And is it going to be tomorrow afternoon? Is it going to be Saturday night? Or are we going to bring him back Sunday when we're playing for the championship? Because we will be. But I think Boz, if we can rely on him coming out of the pen, giving us 2 great outings this weekend, because you have to have somebody we can rely on coming out of the pen. Shout out to the crotch rockets going around here. Jesus. But Boz, the Wizard of Boz, the return of the Boz.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think he is the key. I will tell you this.
And I think
I'm hoping Peters has a good series because it's been rough for him. Mm-hmm. It has been. Sure. We don't need to, and one thing I don't like to do is talk, and we said this, like puppies and rainbows. Like Peters is not. Yeah. For
he's at a rough spot.
6.
He's at a rough spot.
Holy cow. That wasn't a gunshot. The wind is whipping.
The NCAA regionals are blowing. Right
you know what? It's just like how Ray Tanner did it. The wind's blowing out right now. The wind might be blowing out tomorrow.
Ray would hit him with this.
It really is. If you look at the way the actual field is projected, the wind's blowing out.
Oh, yeah.
Look for tons of cock bombs tomorrow. All right, I'm saying Bosnick. You knew what I wanted.
Incredible
sweetheart.
Here at Halls. Unbelievable.
I didn't wave into the service. She knew exactly what I wanted. So you all just saw it pop up. Boz coming out. I think we might get 2 innings out of Boz tomorrow. And I think Boz, whether it be Sunday or Monday, Boz, he's our guy. Yeah. I think
he's been incredible.
I think it's Boz.
Yeah,
and talk about a guy, again, Sunday starter. I don't think he was doing poorly. Yeah. I think he was doing fine. Mm-hmm. I think Will Sanders ended up having a couple good midweek outings.
And he just had weekend type stuff.
Yeah.
You could see it really early. I'm excited for Will, man. And there's some guys, man, that, believe it or not, some guys are just better out of the bullpen, or they're more comfortable if nothing else. Some guys don't like to know when they're going to get the baseball. It gives them anxiety. They get nervous. They get like, You know what I'm saying? Some guys like to be ambushed in a way. And some guys, of course, they like to get in a routine. They like to know, hey, here's when I'm going to stretch. Here's when I'm going to throw. Here's when I'm going to warm up. It's the same thing every 5, 6, 7 days, whatever it may be. So I think it was a mixture of, yeah, like you said, Will Sanders was incredible early on in the season. And you could just, I've been saying it all year. He's your Friday night guy next year. I have no doubt. I mean, the stuff is there. It's incredible. But I think it was a mixture of Will Sanders and what he did. I think Julian Bostic, they kind of had the idea, hey, I think this guy, he's going to flourish in the bullpen. And, hey, sure enough, it paid off.
If Bostic comes back next year and we've got Will Sanders and those are our 1-2 punches.
Yeah. And you hope Jack Mahoney recovers.
And then Mahoney, again, it's always tough coming off of
TJ,
injury. But that's 2 studs.
Yeah.
That gets you excited. That gets you that little tickle down the back of your neck.
Pitching wins championships, man.
But I think, watch out for Boz this weekend. I have a good feeling about it.
Yeah.
All right. Hitter. Positional player. For the regional, whatever you want to call it, player that's got to step up, key player, who's got to be the guy?
I'll say this. It's got to be Brady Allen. More's mihi lucrum, the reaper of souls. Man, I just think the heart and soul of this ball club. I've been saying it all year. And, again, maybe it's the easy answer. I guess there's different directions you could go. But at the end of the day, man, in your leadoff spot, your leader, your clubhouse leader, your on-field leader, off-field leader, I looked at Brady Allen. Things get going tough. He gets going. He gets this lineup going. And when Brady Allen's swinging it well,
he's a stud.
He does it in the field. He does it at the plate. Like dude who sort of sparks us. There's going to be multiple times this weekend where he comes up with guys on base or that'll give him sort of an edge and a chip on his shoulders. Like, hey, I got to be better. Like, I'm the leader of this ball club. It's interesting. Guys like Brady Allen and Eister, they've been on